We passed upon the stair, spoke of was wet, although I wasn't there. He said I was his friend, which came as a surprise. I spoke into his eyes, I thought you died alone a long, long time ago. Oh no, not me. We never lost control. Yet face to face with the man who sold the world.
Hey everybody, it's James here from GoodGuitarist.com, and today I'm going to show you the Nirvana unplugged version of Man Who Sold the World, which is originally written and performed by David Bowie. And this one it's a pretty straightforward, just like strumming tune for the most part, and it has a really easy riff in it. The one thing that you should be aware of is when you watch the Nirvana unplugged version of it, there is another acoustic guitar player. So I'm going to teach you how to play what Kurt Cobain is doing, but I'll also teach you how to fill in some of the stuff with, just in case it's just you and you don't have yourself and another person playing acoustic guitar, so I'll teach you how to get through all that. If you find that you need any extra help along the way, I have an ebook that is completely free for all my subscribers that goes over all the fundamentals of acoustic guitar, of rhythm and strumming, all the chords, all that stuff. So please check that out. If you need any extra help, it's completely free for all my subscribers. Otherwise, we're going to jump right in and learn that famous riff. I'm going to put my first finger on the second fret of the G string. I'm going to pluck that string 3 times. Then I'm going to play the open G string. So that's pretty easy. 1, 2, 3, open. Then I'm going to go. So for that, I started with my first finger on the second fret of the G string. I pluck the string. Then I hammer the 3rd fret with my middle finger, and then I do a pull off. And that's probably the hardest part of this entire song, so just work on that a little bit. If you need extra help with that, included with my rhythm guitar ebook, you also will get my lead guitar ebook. I kind of put them together in the same thing, so just check that out. Anyways, we have this so far. And all we have to do now is play the open G string one more time. So just take a look at that and work through the notes individually. And when you're ready, we can play it together slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And if you find it's a little too tricky to do a hammer-on and a pull-off all together, you could instead just do the hammer-on and then pluck that note instead of pulling off to it. So it would look like hammer, pluck, open. So that's another option if you want a little bit of an easier way to do it. So that's the main riff. And we're going to put this all together later on in this tutorial. But for now, I want to move on and we're going to take a look at the verse. Now, the verse uses a few chord shapes. We start off with A, D minor. And when you're switching from A to D minor, you can leave your ring finger down and just slide it up 1 fret and make that D minor shape pretty easily. Then we go back to A, and then we have an F chord. And for F, we could play the bar chord. That's preferred. And I have a course, Barre Chords Made Easy, if you are interested in pursuing that path. But if you're more inclined to just play this in an easier way, we can also play F like this. And that's the easy version of F. I have a separate lesson for it. I'll put a link in the corner. But long story short, we skip the first string. First finger goes down on the first fret of the B string. Middle finger goes on the second fret of the G string. Pinky on the next string at the third fret. Then our ring finger just above it. And then I'm going to put my thumb lightly over the top just to meet the thickest string. And from the A chord, we can leave our middle finger down and pivot off of that, which makes the switch a little bit smoother. Then there's a C chord, and from this F, we can leave those two fingers down, our index and our ring. You know, they share the same spot. All we have to do is move our middle finger, and that gets the C chord. And those are all the shapes that we need for now. There is one other one in the chorus, but we'll learn it when we get there. So let's take a moment now and play downstrokes only through the chord progression for the verse, just so we can get used to counting it out and playing everything for the right amount of times and all the switching and everything. Starting on A, 1, 2, 3, 4.
2, 3, 4. I spoke of was and when.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3.
He said I was his friend.
F, 2, 3, 4. F, 2, 3, 4. C, 2, 3, 4. C, 2, 3, 4. A, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, D minor. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the one thing to watch out for there is there's that one measure of A where we just play it for 2 downstrokes instead of 4. And you can just rewind it and check that out and play through that over and over until you're comfortable doing the downstrokes with the chord progression. And then to that progression, we can add the strumming pattern, which goes like this. And that's pretty similar to the most common strumming pattern ever, except the first half is a little bit different. Let's break it down into halves. We start out going down, up, mute, up. And to do that mute, I'm releasing pressure with the chord, and then with my picking hand, I'm letting my palm touch the strings first, and that makes sure that none of the strings are going to ring out. So just try that. You know, we'll strum, and then we'll let the pressure off, and we'll go like that. Strum, touch, strum, and then pluck, you know. That's the basic motion that I want you to get used to. And then we can add some more pattern, you know, add some upstrokes, and we end up with down, up, mute, up. And it's important when you do that mute that your pick ends up on the other side of the strings so that you can easily follow it up with an upstroke. Down, up, mute, up. So that's the first half. Now the second half is miss, up, down, up. Just like with the most common chord strumming pattern ever. You know, you just miss the strings on a down, and then you go up, down, up. And that's pretty straightforward. We can practice it by going 1, 2, miss, up, down, up. 1, 2, miss, up, down, up. And when you're ready, we can put both those halves together. Nice and slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and down, up, mute, up, miss, up, down, up, mute, up, miss, up, down, up. With your arm constantly moving down and up, you can see there how it lines up with the counting. You know, your arm goes down on the numbers, up on the ands. And I want you to get it perfect slowly and be able to do it a whole bunch of times in a row slowly. And then eventually you can start to gradually increase the speed till you get somewhere like... You know, that's still not as fast as the recording, but that's fast enough that you can start to feel the groove, you know, and feel the pattern, you know. And once you're at that point, it's just a matter of practice, and you'll just, over time, get faster and faster with it. So that's the strumming pattern. Now let's add that to our chord progression. There's the one part where we just strummed A with 2 downstrokes. During that part, we're just going to play down, up, down, up. Otherwise, it's just strumming pattern plus chord shapes. So, you know, you'll see how this all goes. You can try this as many times as you need to. Let's get started. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and
spoke of was and when, although I wasn't there. He said I was his friend, which came as a surprise. I'd spoken to his eyes, down, up, down, up. A long time ago.
So that's the verse. Now we're going to learn the chorus. And on the recording, you know, you'll hear those scales. But like I mentioned before, there's two guitars. So one of them is playing the scales and the other one is playing some strumming. Let's take care of that strumming part first. We're going to need one new chord shape, C sharp, and we're going to do this as a power chord. So I have my first finger on the 4th fret of the A string, and then I have my ring finger on the 6th fret of the next string, my pinky finger just underneath that, also on the 6th fret, and I'm playing these 3 strings. And it really helps if you put this finger, your first finger, a little bit higher than usual so that it lightly touches the underside of that string and mutes it. And there are a couple strings up here that you could mute with the underside of your first finger. You know, ideally you get mute, 4, 6, 6, mute, mute. But, you know, if they're open, you can just aim for the thicker strings. You know, just try that with your pattern on this new shape. It's important that you mute that one though. That's very important. The one other thing that you'll want to do is practice the switch from F into that power chord. And then we can play through using downstrokes only, just so we can, you know, work out the order once again. Starting off on C, 1, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, not me, F, 2, 3, we never lost control, 2, 3, your face to face with the man who sold the world. And there's a bit of a different strumming pattern for this. It's super duper simple. We're just going to go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. It's like the easiest strumming pattern ever. You know, just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We basically play that new pattern on C and F, and then we play our old strumming pattern on the C sharp power chord. That's basically how we do it. I'm just going to play through it now. You can always just watch this, see what happens, and then try it with me after. Starting on C, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the chorus and verse, and if you just want to play and sing, that's all you need. You know, that plus that little lick at the beginning, that's the entire song. But there are some other parts we can learn, so let's start diving into that. The first thing I want to do is the scale part of the chorus. We're going to be playing a C Mixolydian scale and an F scale. You know, that might not mean much to you, but let's just figure out where to put our fingers and how to play this. We start off on the 3rd fret of the A string, just like a C chord, you know, where your ring finger would go. And then on the D string, we're going to go 0, 2, 3. And I want to play that with my middle and ring finger, just because it keeps me in line with where they would be if I were playing a C chord. And then on the G string, same thing. 0, 2, 3. And then I'm going to play the 1st fret of the B string. So from the start here, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we we do that for every measure of C. So instead of doing our strumming pattern on C, we play that chord on C. And once again, this is optional, or if you have two guitar players playing together, one of you plays the chords and one of you plays this. So our chorus basically starts out with that 3 times, and then we go to the F scale and we play. So for that, we're playing the first fret of the thickest string with my first finger, then the 3rd fret with my 3rd finger, and then on the next string, O, 1, 3, and then on the D string, O, 2, 3. So anyways, we have our F. And then for that thing, we're still just strumming it. So we're going between the scales and some strumming in the chorus. My one piece of advice is when you switch from this scale, we're going to be finishing that on our first finger, and our next scale starts with our first finger, so it's kind of choppy. It's possible, to make that jump, but I actually like to instead go and then put my middle finger down and start that one middle pinky. Totally up to you. That's just something that's maybe a little bit more intermediate or advanced to help smooth out the riff. And also, when you play the F scale and you end on your ring finger, you can just slide that up to the 6th fret and then pretty easily or conveniently make that C#5 chord. So that's another tip. Those are the 2 things that I would try to add to this to make it a little bit smoother. Anyways, let's just try this now, super duper slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and all downstrokes. 3 times on the C, 3rd time. Then we go to F. And then back into our riff. So that's definitely a little bit challenging, but if you break it down, and you just spend a lot of time learning each of those scales, and then you take a look at how it all goes together, and then integrating it with that strumming, there's a lot of elements. But the cool thing is you're learning scales and a song at the same time. How often do you come across that? So that's pretty neat. Anyways, all that's left now is to learn, when we're playing that riff, I want to show you what you could do as a rhythm part. So if you're playing with somebody else and they're playing the riff, you could play this. Or if you're playing the riff, they could play this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. We passed upon the... So that's pretty straightforward. We just hold our A chord and we count to 4 2 times. Same thing with D minor. Then we strum our F chord 2 times, and then we hold our D minor chord as the lyrics start up and ramp up into the verse. And that pairs up with... I'll show you what it looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's how that lines up. There's also the very end of the song where he plays a solo and he kind of goes between the riff. And we can learn that in a in another lesson because that's its own thing. But the chords that they're playing during that point, they play the A chord with 2 strumming patterns, or 2 measures, D minor for 2 measures, F for 2 measures, D minor for 2 measures. And it's just that over and over again. I think they do that 3 times, and then the 4th time they do it, they just end on the F chord. So I'll just put that in the corner, and you can just see, you just do a strumming pattern every time you see a chord symbol there. And that's what's happening during the solo section. So now that we have all the components down for this tune, let's put together our own little version of this song so we can, play everything like they are on the recording. If you want a full playthrough where I go start to finish with a backing track, I have that available on my Patreon page. I'll put a link down below for that. But this is definitely going to get you through it, what we're going to do right now. We'll start on that riff. We're going to play it 6 times, and then we're going to hold that note and count to 4 2 times. Then we'll play the verse, the chorus, and then we'll play the verse again, and then we'll do the chorus with the scale stuff. So we're going to, go through quite a lot of this tune. Let's try it out nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 times, 4 times, rhythm comes in, 6 times, hold, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Spoke of was and when, although I wasn't there. Said I was his friend, which came as a surprise. I spoke into his eyes, I thought you
Down, up, down, up. Chorus.
oh no, not me. We never lost control. Your face to face with the man who sold the world.
Riff. 6 times. 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1.
And shook his hand. I made my way back home. I searched for foreign land. For years and years I roamed. I gazed at gazeless stare. We marched a million hills. I must have died alone a long, long time ago. Who knows? Not me. I never lost control. Your face to face with the man who sold the world.
So, that's the whole tune. If you would like a full playthrough through the entire song with a backing track, hearing how both the guitar parts work together, once again, that's available on my Patreon page. If you need any extra help, don't forget there's my free ebook. I have one for rhythm and one for lead guitar. They're both completely free for all my subscribers. I'll put a link down below for that. I also have my complete beginners course. If you're interested, that's the best way to help support the channel, is to check that out. And leave a comment if you have any questions for me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Otherwise, have a fun time practicing, and I'll see you soon.